What's going on today, YouTube? Rob here. In today's video, I'm going to be profiling a Harpie deck that I built using only cards from the Legendary Duelist Season 2 case that I recently opened. This deck, to me, obviously is very casual, but you could make it into a competitive variant by using cards not from the set. But this is what I came up with, and I hope you guys enjoy. But before we get started, I just want to say, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing for more fun Yu-Gi-Oh videos, and without wasting any more of your time, let's get into it. Alright guys, let's get on with this Legendary Duelist Season 2 Harpie deck profile. So, first off, we have triple copies of Harpie Harpist. So this card's name becomes Harpie Lady while on the field or in the graveyard, and you can only use each of these effects of Harpie Harpist once per turn. When this card is normal summoned, you can target one other winged beast monster you control and one face-up monster your opponent controls and return them to the hand. And during the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add one level 4 winged beast monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand. Next, we have 3 copies of Harpie Dancer. So you can target one wind monster you control and return it to the hand. Then you can normal summon one wind monster, and you can only use this effect of Harpie Dancer once per turn, and this card's name becomes Harpie Lady while on the field or in the graveyard. Next, we have 3 copies of Harpie Lady Sisters. This cannot be normal summoned or set and must be special summoned with the Elegant Egotist. Then we have 3 copies of Harpie Lady 2. This card's name is always treated as Harpie Lady, and negate the effects of flip monsters that this card destroys in battle. Next off, we have 1 copy of Harpie Lady 1, 1 copy of Harpie Lady 3, and 1 copy of Cyber Harpie Lady. So, for Harpie Lady 1, all wind monsters gain 300 attack. For Harpie Lady 2, an opponent's monster that battles this card cannot declare an attack during your opponent's next 2 turns. And for Cyber Harpie Lady, this card's name is always treated as Harpie Lady. Next up, we have 1 copy of Harpie's Pet Baby Dragon and 1 copy of Harpie's Pet Dragon. So, for Pet Dragon, it gains 300 in attack and defense for each Harpie on the field, Harpie Lady on the field. And for Pet Baby Dragon, gains effects based on the number of Harpie monsters you control, except for Harpie's Pet Baby Dragon. So if you have 1+, your opponent cannot target Harpie monsters you control for attacks except for Pet Baby Dragon. If you have 2+, double the original attack and defense of this card. And if you have 3+, once per turn, you can target one card your opponent controls and destroy that target. Next up, we have the 1 copy of Harpie Queen. So this card's name becomes Harpie Lady while on the field or in your graveyard, and you can discard 1 card to the graveyard and add 1 Harpie's Hunting Ground from your deck to your hand. And lastly, we have the 1 copy of Harpie Oracle. So this card's effect reads as follows. This card's name becomes Harpie Lady while on the field or in your graveyard, and you can only use each of these effects of Harpie Oracle once per turn. So if you control a level 5 or higher Harpie monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one spell or trap from your graveyard to your hand that specifically lists the card Harpie Lady Sisters in its text. And this is during the end phase of this turn. That's it for the monsters in this deck. Let's move on to the spells. So first off, we have 2 copies of Harpie's Feather Rest. This card lets you target 3 Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters in your graveyard and shuffle them into the deck, then draw 1 card. If you controlled a level 5 or higher Harpie monster when this card is activated, you get to draw 2 cards instead. And for the rest of the turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters except wind monsters, and you can only activate 1 Harpie's Feather Rest per turn. Next up, we have 3 copies of Elegant Egotist. So if Harpie Lady is on the field, special summon 1 Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters from your hand or deck. Next, we have 3 copies of Alluring Mirror Split. So when a Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters you control is destroyed by battle, you can special summon 1 Harpie monster from your deck with a different name than the destroyed monster. And if this card you control is destroyed by a Harpie's card effect or your opponent's card effect, target 1 Harpie monster in your graveyard and special summon it. You can only use each effect of Alluring Mirror Split once per turn. Next up, we have 3 copies of Hysteric Sign. So when this card is activated, you can add 1 Elegant Egotist from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, or sent there from the hand or field this turn, add up to 3 Harpie cards with different names from each other from your... with different names from each other from your deck to your hand. You can only use 1 Hysteric Sign per turn and only once that turn. Next up, we have 3 copies of Cyber Shield. Equip only 2 Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters and it gains 500 attack. Lastly, for our spells, we have the 1 copy of Harpie's Hunting Ground. This allows all winged beast monsters to gain 200 attack and defense, and if any Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sister is normal summoned or special summoned, the player who conducted the summon targets 1 spell or trap on the field, and that player destroys that target. That's it for our spells. Let's move on to the traps. So first off, we have 2 copies of Harpie Lady Elegance. So this lets you shuffle 1 Harpie Lady Sisters from your monster zone into the deck. Then you can special summon 3 Harpie monsters with different original names, 1 each from your hand, deck, and graveyard. For the rest of the turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters except wind monsters. And if this card you control is destroyed by a Harpie card effect or your opponent's card effect, add 1 Harpie monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use each of the effects of Harpie Lady Elegance once per turn. Next up, we've got 2 copies of Harpie's Featherstorm. If you control a winged beast monster, until the end of this turn, negate any monster effects your opponent activates. And if you control a Harpie monster, you can activate this card from your hand. If this card is in its owner's spell and trap zone is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can add 1 Harpie Feather Duster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And lastly, we have 2 copies of Hysteric Party. Activate this card by discarding 1 card and special summon as many copies of Harpie Lady as possible from your graveyard. When this face-up card leaves the field, destroy those monsters. That's it for the traps. Let's get into our very short extra deck. We have 3 copies of Harpie Conductor. This card requires 2 wind monsters, and this card's name becomes Harpie Lady when on the field or in the graveyard, and you can only use each of the following effects of Harpie Chandler once per turn, Harpie Conductor, not Chandler, once per turn. If a Harpie monster or monsters you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy one spell or trap you control instead. And if another face-up Harpie monster you control returns to the hand except during the damage step, you can target one special summoned monster your opponent controls and return that to the hand. Alright guys, that's it for this Harpie deck profile using cards from the Legendary Duelist Season 2 case. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to leave a like, and why not comment on what your favorite card out of the set was, and what other deck profiles you guys might want to see. As always, I will see you in the next one. That's game.